and Nisiko. I don't know. She's not going to be a permanent part of my household, but she fell asleep on me. So tonight we are going to be discussing um, the RH negative blood factor, Plum Island, where mad animal experiments have taken place, and there's a whole big history there, and cats and spirituality. And during the show, I traditionally monitor the chat within my Facebook group, just because that's where most people view me. But anyone who comments on YouTube would show up in there as well. So I will respond accordingly. So I will wait for everybody to come on in and get settled in. And there I am. Doo-doo-doo. And open up there. And hopefully it won't kick me out. Here we are. Hi, Nancy. You are the first one in tonight, lady. Welcome. Okay, keyboard. Could react. That'd be great. There we go. All right. So, yeah. So tonight, these, for anybody who is new to me, these are topics that we covered a couple of years ago now. However, lost the archive of the original group. Hi, Sandy. And so we are recovering them so that they are reestablished with Soma Fusion. So Facebook can't take them away again. So it was agreed upon I recover them all up until the point where I started on Soma Fusion in March of last year. Sandy Griffin, you never answered me, lady. Where have you been? Oh, and I was asked to pass along love from Chris Stokes, who is not able to be in tonight because of her phone issues still. So she'll have a whole lot of catching up of archives shows when she's going to have to break down and get a phone or not. So, and now I just were actually right before we came on air. Thank you for sharing, Sandy. Appreciate you. So, yes, we have a guest star for tonight who's fallen asleep on me. Hi, Tanya. How are you, people? Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. Sure. No, it's not, Sandy, and I know better. And you should know I would know better than it's all. Thank you, Tanya. And you've never not answered me before. Like, never. So I'm just getting my notebook open. It's easy tonight because these topics are consecutive in the book, so I don't have to have 10 bookmarks going on like I typically do. Let's put that in there. Let's see if I can sage around said kitten. Can you get balanced for me? That'd be gorgeous. Like, go back to sleep right there, okay? Hold on tight, kitten. She's falling back to sleep. I know it. She is like imprinted on me, Sandy. Actually, I delivered her into Mama Cat earlier because she just like imprinted all day yesterday would not leave me alone, to where I had to create like a pouch in my dress to hold her so that I could have my hands free, because she would not get off of me. If you put her down, she would scream like someone was murdering her. So, yes, she is beautiful and she's a love bug, and I do care about her, but the incessant holding, kind of gets in the way here and there. Okay, balance, kitten. Hold on there for a minute. We don't want to burn you. So we'll get the sage blessing going here. The smudge stick is bigger than the cat is. All right, so with this sage, I cast a circle of protection around everyone who is watching the show in the group. She's like, what is that? or will be watching in the replays. And may they be protected against any negativity or ill will or harm from anyone. And may that follow them outside of the show as well. So I will it, so mote it be. Hi, Kim and Renee. You think? I've kind of just been calling her Callie, like sort of short for Calico, but also Calla Lily. But you know, I'm not going to be able to keep her because little girl just she's too much. I got woke up this morning because, of course, the kid has no boundaries. She doesn't understand. And so she went to jump on the bed. Little girl was cuddled up with me and she startled her. So I got woke up to extreme hissing and growling from underneath my arm. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, now. Easy there. She fell off the bed between my nightstand and my mattress. I'm like, uh-oh, stuck kitty alert. I finally had to force the little girl out from under me because I didn't want that near my face, just in case. Oh, good. She's home. Awesome. Good. Hopefully she'll continue getting stronger. So let's boost you so I can get my notebook out, okay? Maybe you'll get tired of getting juggled and you'll actually get down and go back in and sleep with your mom. Maybe. I doubt it. Oh, it's all right, sweetie. You're all right. There, just for the general viewing audience. Cuteness overload. I know, I moved you. You poor thing. It'll be okay. I promise. My neighbors moved, so now I have a cat to feed. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, little girl, I thought she might remember having had babies herself, but nope. Smells like a cat to her, and that's enough to fight. So, it's not going to work. She is very cute. Yes, she is. Are you getting down now, Mischief Maker? You gonna get down? Do not climb my leg. That's your head. Okay. Well, you can go back in with your mother. She got tired of getting juggled. That's okay. You're all right. You are all right. You're okay. Can you hear her? You guys hear that? That's actually kind of low for her. Normally she like screams to where her mother comes racing out and is thinking somebody's killing her little baby. Well, then settle in somewhere. Pick a spot where you're not going to be too much in the way. There we go. You know, no good deed goes unpunished. Isn't that the saying? So we're going to have to call the no-kill shelter and have them take them because nobody around me has a need for kittens or mama cats either. So, and I'd rather be sure that they're going to go to a good home, you know, not just anybody, oh, they're cute, so let me have them and then not take care of them. So that's the plan. Oh no, she falls too easily. And little girl, she sees her and she freaks out. So right now she is sleeping in the background, as you can see. So we are going to let sleeping cats lie. So I have to keep her from view of her because she gets too hissy and growly. She's even taken the growling at me from me telling her like, oh, it's okay, like stop it. Yeah, we don't do that very well. So the kitten and kitty dramas continue. So how else, or is there anything else new going on with you guys or your neck of the woods? Gina, well, you're a stranger, huh? Hi there, lady. I know we had massive rain here for a solid 24 hours, and it rained 3 days before that, like each day. So had lots of flooding, but today was actually nice out. We had a tornado. Yeah, that's not good. It's actually the first sunny day we've had in about a week, and no rain. It was like probably close to 60, which is perfect for me. So, well, hopefully everyone is okay, Renee. I mean, obviously you're here, so you must be, but you know, that's my thought on that one. Yeah, we had it like just straight downpouring. I actually had to use my truck's all-wheel drive coming home that night because the road's graded here coming over the mountainside and stuff, and it bounces you around in your lane. I kept hydroblading. Hey, maybe it moved on to you guys. Let's hope. Well, the weather up by Tanya tends to move my way within 24 to 36 hours. Bonnie and I always like laugh at that it's like clockwork. And she's in Illinois, and so is Nancy. So Sandy might be getting the weather that was here. So all the rivers are like super, super high, creeks are flooded and stuff. 'Tis the season. I blew over, now waiting for another one later tonight. Well, please stay safe out there. Definitely. I mean, I'm glad that didn't, it blew over you. That's a good thing. And hopefully this next one will too. Or it changes its trajectory. Can't ever say that word, trajectory. All right. Well, whoever else is going to wander in, always wanders in. Karen will be here eventually when she's off work. Well, if you're safe where you are, then, I'm sure you know how to handle tornadoes by now. Let's get you up in my hand here. All right. We're going to start out with type and all that deals. I don't know how many of you remember this topic originally when I covered it, or anybody maybe missed it the first time. So we're going to get into that. Yeah, in lots of rain. Yeah, we're going to be doing the Rh negative blood factor, Cindy, as well as cats in spirituality and Plum Island, where that's not too far from Nantucket, and all the animal experiments were going on, and that type of stuff. Yes, do not open a door again. You might end up where Dorothy went. Just saying. So the Rh negative blood factor, let's lay a foundation of that like we always have. So Rh stands for rhesus factor, and it is an inherited protein on the surface of red blood cells. So if your blood has it, you're Rh positive. If there's absence of that protein, then you become Rh negative. Rh negative is a pretty rare blood type worldwide. Having Rh negative blood means that the protein, the D antigen, isn't present on all surfaces of the red blood cells. I have to work at 7 PST. It's in 2 hours. I'll save it. Okay, well, we might even be done by then. Just saying. So condition occurs in only about 15% of Caucasians of European ancestry, 5% of African Americans, and 1% of Asians. And they have kind of mapped out what parts of Europe, Africa, and Asia where it's like the most dominant. Exactly. And I know that I am an Rh negative also, and just got the incompatibility with my daughter when I was with her, like literally 2 days spare in time to get the injection they give you so that your body doesn't attack and kill the fetus. Because it can be that sure, and even take. So it's something that you have to watch out for while pregnant. So it's said that there are blood type personality traits that kind of align with a lot of the different blood types. So while the blood type does not describe what your personality is, people with a certain blood type do tend to have certain traits to them. Not written in stone, of course, but it's also things that are not found on others, me out of Willows Bend. Okay, for that. So 1 second, reload. There we are. And okay. Well, maybe see chat again. My chat right there. No problem. Okay, so I'm sorry, it'll be okay. So the list of native blood personality traits. Number 1 is you tend to prefer facts over opinions. You are willing to keep an open mind to review any new information. Your goal is to seek out authentic truths, not perceived reality. Number 2, feel separate from others, often feel like they live on their own island even when surrounded by people. And many pursue creative careers that scout fact to further human knowledge. Number 3, you struggle to form friendships. They seek out friendships based on interactions with others. And you'll also probably recognize too that a lot of these traits are similar to other things, other topics we've covered in here, from like indigo children, rainbow children, crystal children type of things, and having, your third eye open, having gifts, etc. A lot of these kind of align with that. You often test to see if it's authentic conversation is a priority to people or not. Like otherwise, like you hate fluffy conversation, so you're going to kind of weigh it out first. That's really cute, kitten, just saying. Number 4 is that you're the smartest person you know. It might be Gina. So you tend to have really high intelligence, which can come off as being cocky or rude to others who don't know them, thinking that they're a know-it-all, whatever. Some people are intimidated by high intelligence, which is an issue within themselves. Oh yeah, no, that's why she wanted to crawl up on me, Nancy, is so she could go to sleep. So yeah, she's out. Number 5 is you experience unusual encounters. Others seek them out, sensing that they're trustworthy, and at least once a day, someone seeks them out to share a personal story or a personal observation with. They find the person everybody goes to for help, assistance, that sort of thing, advice, what have you. Hey, Miss Linda, welcome home. Welcome home, welcome home. So number 6, you tend to experience unusual events. Oh no, I'm very glad you're home. Sleeping kitty alert. There you go. Now you saw her. Oh, must be my dad's here. Hi, Dad. Long time no see. Oh, yes, I know. Move out of the way. There you go. Get your tail out. So you tend to have people who find you for guidance and assistance time quite regularly. You experience unusual events quite often. I was actually thinking of your dad last night, and I was thinking of to check on because it's so long. I didn't have time to get to. I knew you were in bed by then, so one of those nights. Yes, it's a kitty. It's a handful kitty, little palm. You experience unusual events. So some dream as if they are perceiving a different reality. Others feel that they're alien or government. Believe that they have gifts or predict the future. Oh. Yeah, so there's 4 kittens in the room. Number 7, you are an empath. Also have more emotional intelligence than most people. Can be so strong in some, it can cause physical illness by your gifts being so high. Like you really have to balance watching your health stuff with not giving too much because it will drain you and have an impact on your health. No, she's not. I'm not keeping her, Gina. It was a semi-feral cat colony on my front porch, and so I got the mama most of her pregnancy in here, and she had her babies outside, but I went out in the snowstorm to rest them in the cold. There is still others outside with another litter, but the neighbor won't do anything with that. So a terrific sinus kind of are already hitting in. I've been sneezing like mad. I am but I'm gonna have to find a home for him because my old cat in the back there, she's a cranky old hag when it comes to sharing the house, so she doesn't do well with even the babies, so it's not gonna work. 8, you have high levels of intuition. You are usually able to tell if others being truthful, so you can see your BS. Learn to listen with your intuition. You can often also or when to play blackjack, for instance, like when gambling, like you know when to go forward with it or not. You're ready for an accident because they can feel it coming. Oh, she wants me, all right. Yeah, I'm fostering. Got them off out of the cold. So, number 9 is that you tend to have major phobia. You tend to easily because they go through every possible scenario that may happen during daily event. Often leads to your phobia developing, like say those are the 2 common ones. Anything that puts their life out of their control can lead to a major or minor phobia. We're control freaks, you know. Number 10, you struggle with mental illness. Depends, like depression is more common, and it's not uncommon to have a family history of mental illness. Number 11, you're uncomfortable. Sorry, you're not uncomfortable. You're comfortable in isolation. You're good with being by yourself. Most will form a bond with us or a lighter bond with certain friends and broad acquaintances. Which is mountains. There we go. They are Basque people, and so this is where the RH factor originated. There are more people who have it there than anywhere else in the world. It's super common to have RH factor, negative factor there than Asia, European, Welsh, Irish, that sort of thing. And Asia, it's much more common in the Pyrenees Mountains. And oh, hi, Marianne. You did find us. We're always here on Monday nights. And if you can't get in on here, then you can to some of you. But they speak other language. Their language is unique to the Basque people. Like no one else shares it. There are other languages that offshoot of it that have developed from their language, which is I find fascinating because most languages, you know, they can even get picked up as pronunciations of an indigenous people's tongue and it correctly and become the basis of another language oftentimes, whereas this is the case here. They have they also have the highest population of the Rh negative blood factor in the world. Up to 40% of the Basque people have it. So if an Rh negative person happens to receive Rh positive blood, it could be fatal. So should someone who's Rh negative need a transfusion, then it has to be by someone else because it's an Rh negative factor or dead. Whereas if you're an Rh negative factor, you can donate to anyone, like A, B, A, O positive, any of them. You can like you're more of a universal donor, but you cannot take their blood back if you should have an emergency. And so we're on the same page. All blood types to types A, B, AB, or O. Each has an associated Rh positive or a negative, but the Rh negative is much, much more rare than others. So 95% of people are Rh positive. O positive, yeah. So that's also considered like universal donor, but you could save my life with your blood. You would kill me. Please don't kill me, my admin. So the Rh positives, they are recording any other blood type when Rh negative can be fatal. So you can't donate to everybody. Just you can donate to other positives. An Rh negative person, that blood would kill. Fortunately, most 95% of people are a positive. So it's why it's negative. Donate for some of your own blood, or if you know someone else who is so an Rh negative, then you can ask them to kind of give or be putting them down as a donor in an emergency situation for you. So studies have also shown that someone with an Rh negative blood type have lower than blood pressure, pulse, and can often have an extra vertebra in their back. If you're an Rh negative female impregnated by an Rh positive male, it's detrimental to the baby, as a woman's body will see the fetus as a foreign body and attack it, which is what happened in my case when I was with my daughter. I don't actually know the blood of her father, but he had to have been a positive in order for be the incompatibility there. And again, it's as simple as like receiving an injection by the time of the 11th month winds around in the pregnancy, then you're good to go. But if it goes later than that, well, yeah, you're risking death. My Rh factor is how my autoimmune disease can't be because of fibro and RSD. Yeah. Your Rh factor caused your autoimmune disease, Tanya? Is that what you're saying? So science has absolutely no idea where Rh factor, negative factor comes from. The only theory that really stands is that because only 15% have it, that may evolve a different race of beings that have it. Alien theorists also see it as a possible hybridization, but can't fully explain it. There are 95% of people in that Basque people area of the Pyrenees Mountains who are all Rh negative. So they'd be able to save each other's life like nobody's business. But if an outsider came in who is, positive, then they'd be out of luck. I was diagnosed because of my thyroid factor. Oh, gotcha. So some of those who have it, including me, could come from either the Nephilim, which are considered to be the fallen angels, who mated with human females, and the Nephilim are supposedly their offspring. Now, again, I have never felt like the Nephilim are offsprings of the fallen angels by any means, but that's the biblical story of it. So, not thyroid. Damn phone, drunk autocorrect guy. He is primed and ready tonight. So other theorists, they feel like, drunk autocorrect guy. Other theorists feel that it was from the Anunnaki and that an ET race that helped establish ancient Mesoamerica or Mesopotamia. civilizations engineered in or crossbred with humans, and that's what created the Rh negative blood type. Um, Many spiritual schools of thought are that we have distinct physical features paired with a predilection for psychic phenomena, and alien abductions tend to run high with people who have the Rh negative blood factor, which have no memories of having been abducted. But you know, hey Stacy, my kid might say differently that I probably am a hybrid of some kind. My knowledge, I was not abducted. Hybrid, maybe. They need to get, yes, yes. No, it's a drunk autocorrect guy. Because you're in the way of the box there. So we've already discussed some of the personality traits that are associated with them, and other features can include red or reddish hair, sensitive vision, and a particular sensitivity to sunlight, which I definitely have all of those. Like my hair is naturally dark brown. However, it was naturally, before I turned so gray, had like copper highlights in hair. Also like 25%, 25% Scottish too. So go figure. But I am highly sensitive. I don't know, Dad, am I a hybrid? Could you as a little girl asking you that question? That would have been hilarious. Probably remember to hear your answer. Just saying. All right. So they also can have elevated intuition, empathic qualities, and the red hair also does originate in the Middle East and Europe. So a question is, could Rh negative factor also be another connections factor, as breakaway archaeologists like L.A. Marzulli speculates? Ancient aliens theorists also speculate that if there isn't a relation to the Hyperborean race, which is thought to be the original human race, about that. Okay, yeah. You must admit, I was always different from my brothers. Some followers also believe that the race of Hyperboreans includes the most spiritual teachers that have been on the planet. So, upon further research, it turns out that I am known as a universal donor because I am type O, but I am O negative. So, as my blood can be used in transfusions for anybody, basically, it's like that universal donor thing. But unless it's a negative 2, I'd yuck. Yeah, that's be compatible as long as my blood given to but they're if you donate to me in an emergency, I'll be dead. So O negative, which is considered the universal donor, constitutes less than 7% of the world's population. Yep, Donna is smoking hot May West with that. Oh yeah, May West I am. So scientists, they are trying to create sort of a synthetic Rh negative blood type, but they haven't had success yet. They cannot get the Rh negative replicated, try as they might. So there's even been some speculation over those who feel like they may be by whatever. Are they really abductions from governments that are abducting people who are Rh negative in order to try to clone the blood or what have you? But again, there's not been any success. There has also been some people who have been, their bodies go unclaimed in morgues and suddenly disappear. And it turns out they were Rh negative blood factor. and nobody seems to know with the paperwork trail who took them. So, this Rh negative is thought to be a relatively new alleged by scientists, as it only appeared a few thousand years ago, allegedly. So, could this be a random mutation? Was there once a genetically pure population on Earth not directly related to the prescribed evolutionary processes, like that we evolved from apes and blah, blah, blah? Could this be like a separate race that was unto themselves? Is that why the mother's body tries to kill the fetus if it is an Rh positive? Hello, Karen darling. So maybe Rh positive was not meant to be the dominant species, because it was like thought to be like possibly the first blood type that existed was the Rh negative, and that the Rh positives came along afterward. But something happened that kind of switched up the balance there. Okay, Jenna, good luck at work. Have a nice in. So, other blood type conspiracies surrounding topic. So, this is in all blood types that exists. There does exist a common microbe, that's the essence of life force of itself. And in studies conducted by a team of scientists who wish to remain anonymous, they have conducted the following tests. Thanks, is a 2-hour, cool. So the tests that they use to kind of test out the Rh negative blood type and things that they found by it, and of whether, like they speculate that it is a specific microbe that makes Rh negatives negative. So they heated up blood to 700 degrees Fahrenheit and also put it in liquid nitrogen as well. And they said that this microbe is only visible with a highly modified field that was custom built, and that the microbe was still alive after exposure to such temperatures and such low temperatures as liquid nitrogen. It says that they also tested it on, quote, mummy dust, and that it was still alive after 5,000 years when it's put into a pH balanced solution, which is kind of the same as being live blood culture. That it does seem to return back to life again, so goes from mummy dust into living blood. They also believe Rh negative people have digestion issues due to the Draco or influence on genes. They also say that the Rh negative factor must have originated in Europe due to the high concentration of Rh negative people that like the Basques, like we talked about before. Oh, take Spirit Airlines, exactly. You could. These scientists also ask, if it is a mutation, then where did it come from? Which is a good question. As far as the Basque people, there is a genetic link to the Celtic population as well. So the Basques come from regions of France and Spain as well. What? That's Mama Cat. What do you want? Your baby's sleeping. That's not her squawking. She's out like a light. I don't know what's bringing you out here, but it's not her. There are more of these characteristics to those with Rh factor as well. So in addition to having a possible extra vertebra, which as far as I know, I don't have one, but there is reported a high percentage of those who are Rh negative factor that they do have an extra vertebra in their back. Yes, that's Mama Cat. The cat detests with a passion. By alleging, as put forth in the final X-Files episode, that perhaps rather than aliens abducting people, that it could also be instead the governments of the world taking people for experimentation, especially those who are O negative, Rh negative factor, which is what I am, and that they have those lines, and because of their interests in the abnormalities and abilities of this population. So it goes on to kind of question: is there such a thing as D state, a separate kind of government within the government, not limited to the rules of the general population, that operates outside of our laws, that have continued with their interest in psychic abilities for wartime practices, that never stopped running since World War II? Because we the people have been told that yes, those experiments have stopped long ago and far away, back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, which, you know, I never have agreed and bought into it that they did stop. Doesn't make sense they would suddenly just cease and desist. So yes, I think those programs probably did continue. And so it's thought that it's with them that the interest in those with the Rh negative factor, that they are prone to having psychic abilities. Yeah, as far as we know, they stopped. And another question that these scientists posed are could the powers that be, okay, I have your baby. She's sleeping in my hand, all semi-sleeping, till I just moved her, but you know. It's wondered that if they don't have a database to track those with the Rh negative factor type, what are you making noise about? I have your baby. She's in my palm. Is that what you're looking for? Is your daughter? You want her? I don't think she's going to want to go, but she seems quite comfortable where she is. She's not responding to your squawking about, so she's right here. Look. You want her? Go to mom. Phew, okay. So many of those who are Rh negative have had many explicable experiences throughout their lives, including different things, everything from having different paranormal experiences or an increased rate of them, having different incidences of psychic gifts, etc., in addition to all the other traits we listed at the beginning. And so, as you can see, conspiracy theories do abound on this topic surrounding Rh negative people, the government, secret agencies, and professions, and which is given weight because of all the programs allegedly shut down that were recruiting us, like the Stargate program, MK Ultra project. Also concerns that Rh negative organs and tissue may be trafficked on the black market. And interestingly, there have been stats that have been kept on people's kept on death rates, etc. Yes, they do, actually, Karen. They do tend to have lower blood pressure, lower temperature, body temperature, etc. That tells you it's alien blood. That's what's speculated, Marianne, is there something in that is a part of the very original race of humans, the Hyperboreans, they're called, and were a separate like genetic line that still got passed down and intermixed through the ages and ended up creating that Rh negative factor to keep popping up in populations. Yeah, so I mean, I know I've always had a low body temperature and blood pressure, so I definitely fit that. So it has been found that they did keep track of death rates, etc., of Rh negative people not getting compatible blood during transfusions and what the outcomes have been, and also a push by medical communities to be an organ donor if you are Rh negative. Other than the Red Cross, there are agencies local to many communities that Rh negative people can register with if a transfusion is ever needed. It'll come from others in the area who are Rh negative to avoid catastrophes. Oh yes, it's the chatter of she's singing the song of their people. So, medical breakthroughs that have been found through using Rh negative factor. The Advanced Cell Technology Center in Massachusetts and the University of Illinois reported they're currently extracting stem cells from 2-week-old human embryos in order to attempt to make Rh negative blood. They are then destroying the embryos within the procedure, so hence, well, we're glad you're not, Karen. So they're like killing off what would have finished evolving into a human being had they allowed it to. So it's still in the embryonic stage to where it's not fully, finished separating and become a fetus yet. So they're getting rid of it before that stage, but they are doing tests and things on that to, I guess, discern how it further mutates, or can they replicate the blood at all? And let me grab a refill real quick. Once again, the salt lamp saved my allergic reaction, which is good. There. She's the only baby out here. And I don't know if we managed to get her to follow you. Nope. Actually, both the black one and her are still out here. Well, can't help you there. So, according to Dr. Robert Lanza, who is the lead researcher of this professional study, basically, that's being done on this stuff, he says, quote, embryonic stem cells represent a new source of cells that can be propagated and expanded indefinitely, providing a potential of inexhaustible source of red blood cells for human therapy. Hey, Miss Annette, where you been? So what do you guys think? If this is the legal research, then what goes on behind closed doors, behind the hidden secret programs that are out there? And, one could keep going deeper and deeper with these subversive connections and ties to the elite powers and control, especially ones that start with the letter I, like the Illuminatis, etc. The point here is we don't know just how deep that this rabbit hole goes. Things go just like what American tax dollars are funding. Special, money gets squirreled out of the budget under the name of other things that goes to this type of research all the time, which has been proven. So they're buried miles underground in secret bases, etc. They tested my blood type at birth. I thought that was normal. Yeah, not usually. They don't usually do a blood typing when you're born, unless there's a problem. Mm-hmm. So there you have it, though. That's something to think about and food for thought anyway. If one does not know their blood type, it may be good to find out. And I remember back when I first did this topic, I actually called my primary care doctor and said, okay, is there anywhere in my medical record that states what my blood type is? And he said, well, no, because you've never needed a transfusion during any of your surgeries. I said, come on, out of all the blood type or blood testing I've had done, it's never been noted what I am. And like they don't test for that. And he said, no, not unless you should happen to need a transfusion, then they will. So it's more something you most likely would find out by donating to like Red Cross or whatever, because they send you like a little card thingy that you get. They test every sibling too. You could be being watched, yes. I'm staying away from social media as much as possible for my own state of mind right now. Well, then I appreciate you choosing us to come in to see. On your birth certificate, really? I've never heard of that. Well, so yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know what would have led them to know that you are Rh negative unless your mother was found to have the incompatibility with you. That's one thing I could think of. They used to check blood time at birth. Huh. Yeah, I've had a couple major surgeries and they never tested it. Yeah, mine's not on my birth certificate either, so it must have been only done up to a certain year of birth, I'm guessing. But I've never seen it on anyone's birth certificate, and I even have my mom's. So that goes back to 1948. Don't know. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So that's pretty much it on Rh blood factor. It's really unknown where it comes from and what all the possibilities are of it, other than they can't clone it, they can't replicate it or create, a blood type, like a generic blood type out of our blood that is Rh negative. There are certain personality traits that have been noted that are also common amongst like the indigo children and rainbow children, those with heightened psychic abilities, etc. All of that stuff kind of ties in. My brothers and dad were positive. My mom and sis were negative. Interesting. Huh. I don't think my mom had it, but I had it with my daughter, which means that her father had to have been a positive. And with me as a negative, then, it would have been a problem. So it is interesting to think about. And they, again, the fact that we are universal donors, but anyone else's blood can kill us. And they don't know why or where exactly we might come from. Did you really, Annette? Huh. Interesting. I want to say my daughter is A positive, but I don't totally remember that far back. We're going back like 26 years now, so 27 years. So I don't fully remember hers. I just know that we did have the incompatibility and it was on my end towards her. So should anyone be interested, how many of the traits that they have that they weren't here to the first half of the show to see, that's where they were all covered. See if, they fit you. For you, Karen, I would say, yeah, a lot of them do. Same as they do for me. So it is a thing, darling. All right, so onward to Plum Island, where mad animal experiments have been done. Yeah, my mother had no clue. I don't think that I was Rh negative. Oh, okay, I know what that is. All right, so we are inching closer to when I started Soma Fusion now. This show was done January 4th of 2021, in which case I joined Soma Fusion in March of 2021. So we're inching closer here. And then we can pick up doing new topics again as you guys are interested in. So what and where is Plum Island? So Plum Island, what state is Plum Island in? Or which state is it on the birth certificate? It must be the birth certificate question. So Plum Island is an island in the town of South Holt in Suffolk County, New York. It's in Gardner's Bay, which is off of Long Island. It is a 3-mile long, 4.8 kilometers, and 1 mile or 1.6 kilometers wide at its widest point. There is a picture of it that I put into the show reminder notice for everybody to see it if they're interested. Have you really? I'm surprised they let you there. They're pretty sketchy on tours. So Plum Island is the site of the Plum Island Animal Disease Control Center, which was founded in 1954 by the USDA, which is the United States Drug and Alcohol Committees. Basically, also the site of the former military installation of Fort Terry, which was circa 1897. You can see a picture of it if you want in the show announcement, reminder notice for today. It's in there anyway. So it's owned entirely by the United States government, and it was previously called, let's see if I can say it right, Manitwananda or Twanambi by the Paco Nation. It was named for the beach plums that grow on its shores originally. Yeah. So it was then sold to the son of the governor of Connecticut in 1659 for a coat, a barrel of biscuits, and 100 fish hooks to the indigenous population. So the present history. So in 1954, the USDA established the Plum Island Animal Disease Center. During the Cold War, it was a secret bioweapons program targeting livestock that was being tested there. That's what they were testing from the military there. Yes, I like biscuits too. So they were basically testing how can they use bioweapons on livestock to have an impact on an enemy's food source, basically, to help halt the war progress. And you can't feed the people. Well, there you go. So they tested all that stuff there. They conducted research on animal pathogens to protect farmers, ranchers, and the nation's food supply here, but also how to take down their animal population. Access is restricted to the site because of said research. Now we're going to jump ahead to the year 2003. So the U.S. government took ownership of the island and the facilities and kept the USDA, but expanded it under the Homeland Security. And because of 9/11, Plum Island went into use in addition to the USDA, also a national bio and agro defense facility. My hubby made fresh blueberry biscuits yesterday. Oh, yum. Those sound good, Sandy. So their aim with that was to protect our nation's food supply. But again, they were also testing how to take out everyone else's. The government has outgrown the facility and wants to rebuild it in Manhattan, Kansas. And going forward to July of 2008, a creature called the Montauk Monster washed ashore at Ditch Plains Beach. And there was plenty of pictures taken of it. Now, this animal, I did post pictures on it back at the time. I can always grab another one should you guys be interested, or you guys can go look it up yourself, the Montauk Monster. This animal was about the size of a cat, and it's thought that like genetic stuff had been done to it to change it, like some mutant experiments from Plum Island due to the proximity and the currents that would have landed it there on a beach. Now let's delve into some of the mysteries, myths, and legends of Plum Island. Yep, Montauk Monster. Yeah, it is very weird. So it looks kind of like partly pig, partly dog, partly, it's got some weird like hairless thing. Yeah, it looks like a mixture of animals to me. And they never have fully identified what it is. So one concern they are worried about being prepared for is foot and mouth disease or thrush and African swine fever. Those even spread across U.S. farms, wreaking havoc on our food and water supplies if they did happen to cross out through our, livestock, etc. It would take us down, and we'd end up starving. It's guesstimated that if those did get out and spread, that it could cause billions in economic loss amongst farmers. Last outbreak of this in the U.S. was 1929. And according to the BBC, which is the British news channel, basically, a 2001 outbreak in the UK cost the nation the equivalent of $10 billion. So there would be widespread meat way. I'm not sure what you mean, Karen. So there'd be widespread meat and dairy shortages. All meat exports would have to be halted until it could be eradicated, which means slaughtering all those animals that test positive for it, and then getting rid of the bodies, etc. So a 1971 New York Times article described Plum Island facility as, quote, Devil's Island for the deadliest disease germs known to man. Not good, right? Plum Island also houses the only foot and mouth disease vaccine bank in North America, which has been developed to combat more than 60 different strains of the disease. Hi, Lori. We covered one topic already and started the second. So Plum Island was the only holder of the vaccine against 60 different strains of thrush, essentially foot and mouth disease. These could be or would be dispersed to the United States, Canada, and Mexico in the event that the disease ever spread. So Plum Island did get shut down in 2023, or will be like completely shut down by then. It'll be replaced by a $1.25 billion project in Manhattan, Kansas. It'll be larger and able to conduct more studies, simulations, or simultaneously and study level 4 diseases which are transmitted to humans. I wouldn't personally want to live anywhere near Manhattan, Kansas with the building of this new site. So just saying. Yeah, the Montauk Monster, you can just enter it into a search for photos online and it'll come up with a bunch of different pictures of it. And it just washed up on shore, basically. Yeah, let's go further into depth. But I mean, with all of those different bugs there that they'll be studying, I wouldn't live anywhere near that. Absolutely not, just in case, because you never know. So there was an Al-Qaeda operative who was arrested in 2008 who had a handwritten list of potential targets in the United States, which did include Plum Island. The government is looking to auction off the island to help defray some of the costs in building the new site. And so there is another member of Willows, her name is Kat, and she's a scientist, and she's been there studying as an environmentalist the impact all that they were doing had on the environment of the island. And we had a discussion about it when I originally was going to cover the topic. So that was interesting to get someone's firsthand view of what it actually was like there. So environmentalists are concerned because of a lack of further development. It's become a haven for 600 harbor and gray seals, which migrate from Canada looking for food. It's also a thriving population of piping plovers and roseate terns that live on the island. And so they are fighting to maintain at least part of the island as a nature preserve to protect these species. Obviously, animal testing takes place there as well. So keeping those animals safe from that, I would not want to buy that island. Absolutely not. I mean, I don't even know how you would go about cleaning up from all the animal testing that's taken place there. And no doubt there was a lot of stashing of medical waste products into directly into the environment, burying them on the island, whatever. But those things eventually leak. So no thanks. And that's why they're concerned with the seals and those birds that reside also on the island is protecting their food source. So in 2004, a conspiracy theory circulated that Lyme disease happened to us escaped Plum Island and was published by Michael C. Carroll's book, and that was Lab 257, The Disturbing Story of the Government's Secret Plum Island Germ Laboratory. The reason this is believable is because Plum Island is located just a few miles off the coast of Lyme, Connecticut, which is where it was first detected back in 1975. So according to April Ferguson, who is a chief strategy officer for Hudson Valley policy-oriented think tank, she said that, quote, I don't know if Lyme disease came from Plum Island, but it's weird. No one wants to talk about it. Doctors are scared to treat and diagnose it, and the government doesn't talk about it, end quote. Um, Her name was changed per her request. Ferguson represents Lyme patients pro bono as an attorney, which means free of charge. The number of cases jumped tenfold in a year, and insurance companies don't cover antibiotics for Lyme disease. It's taboo, and I don't know why. Interestingly, Plum Island isn't far from Montauk, which is referred to as the East Coast Area 51. It's now allegedly decommissioned, but was a vast warren of underground labs and were devoted to studying teleportation, which was considered to be an off-label application of Einstein's unified theory. So could it have gone on to be connected to Plum Island? They're awful close in location. Also, according to the author Michael Carroll, who is an attorney as well, West Nile virus and duck enteritis also came from Plum Island. After the U.S. government turned it into the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility, workers had to be ferried back and forth under armed guards from the mainland out to the island. Photographers, reporters, boaters, and thrill seekers are warned away by high security and stay away signs everywhere listed. And all this only, of course, served to fuel the conspiracy theories that in that culture to give light and light the fire underneath them that, hey, there's something more going on there, is because of the high security there. So back in the World War II days, it is alleged that a German scientist named Erich Traub was brought to America to do research at Plum Island on disease-carrying insects like ticks, which deer ticks are responsible for carrying Lyme disease. He allegedly worked on developing diseases that could be loaded on insect vectors and spread into enemy territory as bioweapons. So it's thought or questioned, did some of those ticks escape into the environment and hop onto different animals, multiply and spread throughout the whole, pretty much Northeast. I don't know how prevalent they are further into the country on the western side of things, but they're definitely prevalent on the East Coast. November 21st, 1993 article in Newsday reported on recently declassified documents that had outlined a plan to use diseases from Plum Island in the 1950s against the Russian livestock for purposes of destroying their food supplies. Yeah, I mean, they do test for it regularly now if you have the symptoms, but I guess it is still difficult to land a diagnosis and treatment for it. The Cuban government has also claimed that Plum Island was the source of a bio-attack plot against their agricultural assets as well, which was also based on declassified documents. So in the declassified documents, it listed that we, the United States, were planning on attacking both Cuba and the Russians with bio-warfare that would take down their food supplies. Yes, I have two. Jake was notorious for getting them too. Does he really, Annette? I haven't heard that, or haven't had any updates on them in a long time. In a 2001 article in New York Times, it had alleged that Plum Island was pursuing a vaccine-resistant form of anthrax on Plum Island. Being raw on that one. Also was testimony from a Mark Bueller, who was a virologist at Plum Island, and they had a professor who was pursuing animal equivalent of smallpox that could possibly spread to humans that was being done there too. To this day, the government insists all testing is done for defensive purposes only. Yes. And how many times has the government been absolutely honest with us across the board on exactly all of the things they're working on. The Montauk Monster just adds fuel to the fire of tales of bizarre animal genetic testing. It was described to be the size of a cat, four-legged, and with comparatively thin legs, kind of much more like a pig's legs. It had clawed paws that appeared to end in dexterous fingers, elongated skull with a jaggy pointed teeth on the lower jaw, and looked like a beak coming out over the top jaw. Ticks in Iowa used to go to your head. Ticks in Missouri can be as small as a dot of ink on a paper and go anywhere they want. Yep. He was always having ticks swim. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I got a tick in my ear as a little girl, so, you know. So it was described as also being four-legged, having comparatively thin legs, clawed paws that appeared to end in two dexterous fingers at the end of it, an elongated skull with jaggy pointed teeth on the lower jaw, and the top jaw looked like it had a hooked beak on the upper jaw, that it said to have leathery skin with very sparse hair and a very slender tail. Should trust the government. Yeah, wink, wink, nod, nod. The lab tried passing this being off as a raccoon de-haired by the ocean. Anyone who has seen the picture, I mean, there's nothing about a raccoon's skull that has a beak or has, you know, that kind of thin legs, and it's not 5 fingers like, you know, on the paws of a raccoon. There's only 2, I believe, in the pictures, if I'm remembering correctly. So, not a raccoon. Shh, just saying. So, following year in 2009, a similar carcass washed up in the same area, and miraculously, both carcasses disappeared. That definitely was not a raccoon. But wait, there's more. January 14th of 2010, a private security guard was patrolling the perimeter of the research facility on the southwest end of the island at 4:15 p.m. He came across and described finding the body of a male around 6'2", large build, wearing green cargo pants and a light green short sleeve shirt. The fingers on the unidentified man were extremely elongated. He also had 5 symmetrical holes bored into his head, like they have like one of the halos I have on. Notice some things die out. They all try new things. Yeah, right. Just looked up the picture. Looks Stephen King movie. Yes, it does. So it's the 5 symmetrical holes bored into the guy's head, either before or after his death. Hey, Mary. No other signs of trauma were found on his body. It was a white male, and no searches revealed his identity, and his remains remain unidentified to this day. So they could also be doing human tests out there too. The next day, his race reported to be a black male. So the details started getting changed. The report eventually slipped into the forgotten pile. The government in recent years allowed small tours, but it's done little to eliminate the fear of Americans and possible human genetic testing by the pseudoscientists, quote unquote, and conspiracy theorists, which even a lot of mainstream media sources are starting to say, yeah, everything that the conspiracy theorists were concerned about have come to pass in the last couple of years. So how cuckoo nutso are we? Go figure. How was your night, Mary? Or your day, Mary? Welcome home, by the way. Sorry, hair matter. Considering the government's propensity for covert operations lying to the public, cover up after cover up, it only seems reasonable to me that not everything, Natalie. We are wrapping up topic number 2 before going into topic number 3. We are still nutso, but you know, we're right. We're correct nutsos. So that there is a whole lot more going on at Plum Island than the people will ever know. So it's still a lot of unknowns, but and I wouldn't put anything past it. Of if they're doing all this other, even just the testing they were doing to take out other food supplies, and that they were originally targeting, the Russia and Cuba, and that's been released in documents. Well, what are they planning on doing the rest, like us, if we revolted or something? Scary business. Okay. So Natalie is just in time for this topic of cats and spirituality. This was covered January 12th of 2021. So cats and spirituality. Cats have always been revered as energetically and spiritually enlightened animals. For those who understand cats, they are respected for their deep sense of independence and their ability to act like they don't need us, but they are happy to share their time with us anyway. Spiritually, cats are known for their psychic and intuitive capabilities. And for the purpose of tonight's show, I will be focusing on the domestic cat because that's what we know best, right? So different spiritual paths can view cats differently. So let's look at some of these. How does Christianity see cats? Some Christians believe angels are connected to, which I'm not aware of any Christian groups that do believe this, but the research said so, with cats, and that they work with Archangel Raphael with healing work to assist humans and the planet, or close to domestic, correct. And there's Archangel Jophiel. Also, there are, of course, cats tie into Satanism and witchcraft with familiars, and that black cats especially are bad luck and evil beings, which no, they're black hairballs that are just cutesies, but there's nothing bad about them, of course. So Archangel Jophiel was said to work with lions to bring down their energies from the solar systems, and some also call on Archangel Felicia and Saint Francis of Assisi, who can both work closely with helping animals in general. You're funny, Karen. It's thought that cats were first domesticated 4,000 years ago in and around ancient Egypt, and they were also revered and worshipped in Egypt as personified in the goddess deity of Bastet, shown as being a half cat and half woman. So archaeologists actually, and Bastet, she is still worshipped amongst many people who are practicing witches as well. They think that they were cat farms that were bred there to breed and raise cats for the purpose of sacrificing and mummifying them to give as offerings to offer to Bastet. So like that was a common practice. And in that archaeological dig that we were talking about a couple shows ago, it starts with S, and I'm going to lose the name again, but there was a recent huge Acropolis found that had 1,000 unopened sarcophagus in there. They also found what was suspected to be a modern day temple to Bastet, and that all these mummified cat remains, including a lion cub, was discovered down in there as well, that there were thousands of them, which is where they thought that they created breeding farms basically for them, that people could go and buy them and then sacrifice them, mummify them, and give them up as offerings. So she was considered the guardian against evil and disease, fertility, and motherhood. And in China, whilst cats aren't as revered as they are here, they are often eaten as a food source even, and they do have a goddess, Li Shao, who took the form of a cat for fertility and pest-free fields. Except when a black cat runs off and can't be found. Well, any cat runs off and can't be found is heartbreaking. So in Mesopotamia, wild cats lived amongst Mesopotamians over 100,000 years ago. Domesticated, they were domesticated around 12,000 BCE, around the same time as dogs, sheep, and goats were, which kind of blows the whole 4,000-year-old theory out of the water, obviously. Oh, Maine Coons are big, yes. My old neighbor used to have one, and we had one that was part Maine Coon. So in Japan, they have a good luck cat, Manaki Neko, to bring blessings, and it's often shown as like a really chubby cat with a big eyes closed and smiling, and sometimes its paw kind of waves. Remarkably, Japan has a long, terrifying history of folklore involving monstrous supernatural cats. They embody mysticism there, but there are shrines to worship cats as gods across Japan as well. And then in Europe, it's thought that cats first became associated with the underworld and witchcraft via the Greeks and Romans, who, whilst not revering them as gods, did have them as beloved pets. The Celts are associated with their goddess Brigid, who helps heal animals who are injured, sick, etc., as well as children. Mufasa kitties, yes. I was going to do that to the kitten before she got taken by Mama, but hold her up in the air like that. So in the past, to help heal and protect animals, and in the Norse traditions and mythology, the goddess Freyja, who had her chariot drawn by two cats. Then Christianity weighs in, divided on feline symbolism and spirituality. So despite one of the earliest references in Christianity of cats is a tabby who comforted a newborn Jesus, and in return, his mother and the Virgin Mary blessed them and inscribed the letter M on their heads. So like how tiger cats have that M there, that's where that's supposed to come from. It wasn't long, though, before cats became associated with dark arts and witchcraft, and often were burned at the stake alongside of their human, for being a familiar. Which not all cats are a familiar, for those who are non-witches don't know. Europe and Middle Eastern cultures, the black cat spiritually have been seen as harbingers of death and have several superstitions surrounding them. Buddhists see a cat's body as a temporary resting place where souls of spiritual people rest in. And now let's look at the other spiritual attributes that cats can have. So cats are seen by spiritual people as having spiritual attributes, and here's how. So it's said that as a cat grows, so does its energy field. The older the cat gets, the bigger the energy field that they have. So over time, it's as though they grow into their spiritual power. I love the story about the M on their heads. I was told it was the mark to show they were smarter than other cats. Interesting story too, though. And I forgot that was like one of the origins of that M story. I totally forgot about that till I'm reading the research. They're also said to be able to see spirits and communicate with them freely, which I believe they do. Yeah, little girl has it too. Also, it's thought that cats can see fairies around outside. It does. So spiritual people tend to attract cats, which is also partly because many of us are empaths, and animals tend to know when they can trust us when they need help of whatever kind and sucker us in, much like them. Did you see this? This is all from that little hairball I was holding just in the last week. And there are, let's see, where are they? Oh, they're on this side of my arm. Let me try to turn it around this way. So all those red spots, yes. Joyous, fuzzy little kid, lovely, right? And that's not my legs. That's not counting my legs. Your cat does in your grand cat, yeah. So spiritual people tend to attract cats because we're empaths, and understand by spiritual people who are spiritually You love scratches, you can have mine because I'm covered in them all over my knees down, and then from the fight, both from little girl and mama cat, the mama cat attacking the little girl, as well as little hairball that climb me. So I'm not so fond of them. So the cats are also understood by those spiritually minded that it can simply mean that people have a quote organic connection, who are intuitive, empathic, and have a greater connection to their higher selves, and that they trust their inner guidance and are more than just a cat. Yes, she's trying to mark me with the yeah. If you connect the dots, Goddess knows what marks, what they would create marks of, especially that. Like, that's pretty good there. And her claws are so like tiny penny that she's just like creating what are they, blood blisters. Yeah, they're not like fully open scratches, but they're blood under the skin. But she has laid open many more scratches that were caused by those two arguing. Sandy, Four of them. Well, she's the main culprit of climbing me. The others are a little bit more feral than she is. She's clingy. So, what are a cat's superpowers? They have higher intuition. They are energy sensing either higher or lower energy fields. Hence, yes, they can see, spirits in the atmosphere, etc. People visiting, etc. Some other gifts that cats can have is that there is healing in their purr, which is a scientifically based thing that physically it is relaxing, which helps to lower blood pressure and heart rate, but it also helps to heal vibrationally too and lower stress. And it's not uncommon for people who have lost a beloved cat to get an energetic visit from them now and again as well. Their sixth senses are also exceptional, both physically and spiritually. So every animal that is a mammal, we all share the same emotional breadth, I guess you'd say, as what humans have. The same senses are all the same. Some of them are just heightened compared to ours, but they still have all the same stuff. Oh, Lord, Sandy, yeah. Bonnie had something similar in her house at one point, and I said, "Oh, good Lord, you fostered all of them? Oh my, how did you manage that?" Yeah. So their hearing, they are thought to hear 5 times more stronger than us, and thus can tune into higher vibrations of hearing of a soul being talking or moving around, and can hear higher frequencies. Their eyesight only needs 1/16 of the light we do to see by. They also have a much wider range of vision too, and they do see in color, the gradient colors, like, there's variants. Oh, good for you. And so people used to think, and science used to think, that both cats and dogs could only see in black and white, which is not true. Now, there are some colors they see clearer than others, but it's certainly not all in black and white. They may be slightly muted colors compared to what we see them as, but they still can see them. Many do see in more of a or lower of the spectrum than us. They can smell and taste, which that doesn't make them more spiritual helpers, of course. My cat sits on my husband's lap and stares at a spot above my shoulder all the time. Well, communicate and ask them, Sandy. You just got to listen with your heart and clear your mind, and then focus on the cat. Don't try too hard, kind of let it organically happen. And they communicate in telepathy. They got a lot to say. Maybe it's an angel on could be a loved one. So the sense of touch, they have sensitive nerve sensors in their paws and can sense small vibrational changes because of those nerve sensors. The sixth sense, which is the intuitive awareness, many cats know when someone knows it themselves. can often also know when we're on the way home. Cats have also been known to pick up on national disasters that have occurred, like earthquakes, etc., kind of advance, start freaking out. People don't really understand why until it's after the fact, but then they all report, oh yeah, my cat was going ballistic the entire afternoon and I didn't know why. And then a massive earthquake hits at night type thing, or whatever type of disaster. Some scientists think it's because of their ability to sense vibrations before we do, and others say that's more of a knowing they have. Maybe be both. So cats as spiritual guardians, they can pick up on our emotions and changes to them, which is much like what we empaths do. So, they can sense what our emotional states are when we're upset. They may move closer to us to see if we're okay. So what do you guys all think of them as spiritual beings? Do you find cats to be spiritual, or not a cat person overall? I mean, I know many of you are in here, but some people prefer dogs. I think some cats are more so than others. They're more than just a cat. Yeah, I definitely think most of them are. Like I said, there are those that are just cats and don't have anything specifically extra about them, but there are those that have a deep knowing to them, I think, and wisdom to them, and are just that way, or on the autism spectrum, like little miss over there. So let's see, 9:30. So it's up to you guys if you want me to do one more topic or not. I was asked to withhold one of the topics for Chris until she's able to rejoin us. Oh yeah, definitely. So I could do Rougarous, Werewolves, and Dogmen. Or here, you know what? It's gonna be easier just to look on the cover. That was kind of a two-parter show. The Aniwatok Dome is another option. You'd love another topic, okay? You guys good for me to keep going? See, hold on, Natalie. I got questioned the other day about how, like in my clan, they wanted us to pick a topic to present, but a very specific topic. And he's like, well, pick one you've never done before yet. And I'm like, I don't know. I said, I don't mean to at all sound egotistical, but there's a lot of things in my head from all the different things I've covered in the past. My audience chooses it. So I don't, but I go research what they're interested in. So it could be anything and everything. So I'm not being cocky and arrogant. It's just there's a lot of different things stored up in there. It's like, well, you can't do what you've already done. Are you serious? How is that? I've been doing my show for 3 years now, and I've only ever missed 3 shows. One was my fault because I was driving back from the event that I met Tanya in person in, and the other 2 were Facebook's fault. So, and that's in 3 years. So, hello, like, what have I not covered yet? I'm always looking, like when we are not covering the old topics, it is a struggle to come up with new topics to put on the list that we have not done yet. So, yeah, they don't get it. All right, so let's do the Rougarous then for tonight. And we're going to save the emerald tablets for Chris when she returns and gets her new updated phone. So, yeah, don't matter to me. All right, so this was covered January 19th of 2021, the Rougarou. So it also has alternate spellings, but what is a Rougarou? It is a legendary creature of Laurentian French communities around the St. Lawrence River and is linked to traditional legends like that of a werewolf. The legend is a popular one throughout French-speaking countries. And in the US, the Rougarou story is common and popular amongst the French Louisianans, aka it's also known as the loup-garou. The loup-garou, pretty good considering I don't speak French, right? The wolf man who transforms into an animal is what the loup-garou is. The legend also spread throughout the French Canadian immigrants many centuries ago. Lichens, yes. So in the Cajun legends, the creature is said to prowl through swamps, and it's said to have the head of a wolf or dog and a human body, similar to a werewolf legend. And it's also said to be seen in the sugarcane fields and woodlands in certain areas. And as most spooky stories are intended to, it was used to instill fear, to help children behave and obey their parents. Another interesting variant on the Rougarou is said to kill Catholics who disobey the rules of Lent. Better watch out, Kim, if you're still in there. For those who don't know Lent, it is a serious practice beginning on Ash Wednesday and ends about 6 weeks later after Easter Sunday, and is meant to prepare for Easter through prayer, doing penance, repentance of sin, self-denial, etc. So torture and torment yourself for something that you care about for 6 weeks. Sounds good, right? Deprive yourself of something. So there's a group of French Catholic stories which says the way to become a werewolf is to break Lent 7 years in a row. Would lead you to become a werewolf. Exactly. So yeah, gonna watch out on that one. So variations on the Rougarou. Self-torture is awesome. A common blood-sucking version says that a Rougarou is under the spell for 101 days. At that time, the curse is supposed to be passed on to others when the Rougarou draws another's human's blood. Yeah, me neither, Sandy. The humans don't tell others for fear of being killed. So they don't let anyone know, hey, I'm turning into a werewolf, out of fear of, being hunted down and killed. Other variations include the Rougarou being a rabbit. Monty Python's Killer Rabbit comes to mind here, for those who are old enough to remember that one. Another is that the Rougarou is either a witch making themselves into one via spells and shape-shifting, or cursing others with lycanthropy. And in popular culture, the Rougarou has been mentioned in or featured in various TV shows, such as Harry Potter, wands for having Rougarou hair in the wands. Some of them do have that. And of course, Professor, what was his name? It was like a version of Lycan, but he turned into a werewolf. He was a werewolf in that one Harry Potter show. Also, season 4 of the show Supernatural, they are looking for Rougarou. Had to go to Confession Weekly and confess my sins. If I didn't have any, I'd be called a liar and then confess to something I made up on the spot, therefore sinning. Live chat. See more. Great racket they got. Oh yeah, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So it's also shown on the Supernatural show season 4, also shown on the show Cryptids, NCIS, etc. And the Killer Rabbits. The Rougarou can also be linked with other legends, including the werewolf and dogmen. And as they were show topics added to the voting table, I kind of continued on with the research, including it in the Rougarou, because they are all interrelated, really. So werewolves and the dogman, and I will cover them now as they are all similar in nature and are different variations of the same concept of what it is. So let's dive in. Let's put my note to myself. Werewolves, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, a werewolf is, in European folklore, a werewolf is a man who turns into a wolf at night, eats animals, people, or corpses, but returns to human form by day. Some say they can shapeshift at will, but it's more commonly seen to change shape involuntarily under the influence of the full moon. We're going to leave that one alone, Karen. if the werewolf is injured at all in that form of being a werewolf, then he'll still bear the wounds even after changing back into human form. Belief in werewolves is found throughout the world. And now there is a condition called lycanthropy. So let's look at that one. It is a mental disorder where the patient believes that they are a wolf or some other non-human animal. Yeah, there's a lot of recovering Catholics out there. But if you are one, then I accept you as you are. Clinical lycanthropy, there we go. According to the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, it's upgraded. I think it's on the 6th version now currently. So it is listed in there and is used as a standard across the psychiatric profession for the diagnosing and treatment of mental health disorders, and is currently on volume 6, my note says. So clinical lycanthropy is defined as a rare psychological syndrome that involves a delusion that the affected person can transform into and or has transformed into or is an animal. Humans are said to physically shapeshift into wolves. It is purportedly a rare condition. So what are the signs and symptoms of clinical lycanthropy? And these are individuals believing that they're in the process of transforming into an animal, where the transformation needs to happen in a study on lycanthropy from the McLean Hospital reported on a series of cases and proposed some diagnostic. I froze. Shit. Okay, let me go back out, guys, if you can still hear me. My tablet's getting a little warmified. Give me a minute here to get back in. Oh, you stupid tablet. Start video. There we go. Thank you, Katie. I must have turned my notebook too close to the camera or something. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Sometimes when I flip my notes over too close to the camera, I don't know why, but it will freeze my tablet. I don't have any idea. In which case I have to exit out of Zoom and then come back in. So it just takes a second. So a patient who has been diagnosed with lycanthropy, there are lucid moments or memories that sometimes they feel like an animal or have felt like it. And a patient behaves in a way that resembles animal behavior, like howling, prowling, or crawling. The age of that's restarted about every other day. Yeah, I know. I'm getting to the point of needing another tablet. This one's heading towards outdated and full, so yeah. Interestingly, only a minority of cases in this rare condition, like 30%, report becoming or being a wolf or dog theme. Others report having changed into a hyena, a cat, horse, bird, or a tiger, and still others believe that they've changed into bees or frogs. The at least Greek and Roman times. Back here, going into the Middle Ages, if you were thought to be a werewolf, even a health issue, you were burned alive as a way to take you out. Some believe that shapeshifting was used to explain so look at shifting. Now, it's said that before certain rituals or dances, an individual may have mild an animal spirit, or while not taking on the form of the animal, may move with characteristics of that animal. Some report the power of that animal as expressing the vocalizations of the said animal. And mythology, folklore, and spiritualization, perhaps by ability, manipulation, skills, or abilities. It also is a form of totemism, which is indigenous people have a belief in animals that are spirit guides, and you, like you guys have heard me talking about spirit guides, connecting to the ceremonies, to the mind, starting like it in the ceremony, and kind of energy that being. So, being a spiritual being, sacred object, or a symbol that serves as an emblem of a group of people, and the term comes from the North American language of the Ojibwe tribe and of shamanism. I'm breaking up and I'm fading out. Well, that's not good. Let me double check my audio. There we go. I remember I said no if I go low suddenly because it automatically the tablet will turn itself to half volume. Can you hear me better now? Let me double check here. Oh, okay. 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 Is that better? Still choppy. Yes. I mean, it does constantly when I'm watching a show or something. It's they're now, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay now. Let me know, lovey. That's good. Okay. Nope, not you. It's my volume one, and that's like I said. I think it's time for looking at a new tablet or notebook or something because this one's on its way out, and I have had it for a handful of years. You sound like aliens are invading. They might be in that. You just never know. Just saying. So just let me know if it gets low again, and I will double check the settings of it. I resume. Don't need that on there. Try that. Any better? Technical difficulties. Hopefully it's better. Well, I'm gonna go forward and let me know in chat if you are still having issues hearing me. I look like I'm kind of getting normally now on my end. Stay back, okay. I only forward to the top of the page through my bubbles. Okay, so we're gonna try this. So other terms for a shapeshifter, the Navajos call them skinwalkers, and skinwalkers, different beliefs abound about what they are. Some do describe them as being like werewolves, etc. Then there's the dog man, which has been recorded and through cryptozoological beings, which are be longer than dogs, but can like on 2 legs. Another whistling like Sasquatch with a muzzle, the normal flat legs that Sasquatch can have, is to have the muzzle but like a dog. This is report seeing claws at the end of things, thin fingertips and toes. I hope I'm not interfering with the signal. Not saying it can't happen, of course. No one knows just how far back reports go of Dogman, and some even wonder if there's not a connection to the Anubis, which is the god of the underworld in Egypt. The first documented encounter of man was in 1887 in the United States. 2 lumberjacks reported seeing a creature they described as having a man's body put on a dog's head. Reports say that the really I mean, I try to back out and see if that helps. I missed them a little bit there. Maggie, I'm showing pretty well full bars on my end. Weird. If it continues, I will go back out again, count to 10, and then come back in and see if it works. Zoom and all that, and then wait to come in. The tablet is actually standing up against a back holder thing to hold it in the upright position. It's really more my notes that I'm leaning forward to see through some bifocals. Let me know if it's weird. I will go out and come back in so that we may finish the topic, hopefully without issue. I mean, I can see like the video's a little weird. You guys willing to have me jump out and jump back? And I apologize. I don't know what the weather's doing tomorrow. I haven't actually checked it yet, but it's possible. All right, so why don't I jump out and jump back in and see what it says? Yeah. No, I did move the tablet back. So let me jump out. I'll close out of Zoom and then come back in yet again. Poor Katie. But so bear with me for 1 second and we'll do it up. Hopefully fix it. If I start video there, let's see if this is any better. We're going to try that and see what it does. Okay. I will double check my volume up and up there. Okay. So is that any better, guys? Hopefully. I hate when it gets glitchy. Twitch. Is it any better? So far, good. Okay, so let me know if I get weird again. Well, video weird. Okay, good. Okay, so reports say that the ones that remind people of Sasquatch do have more of a dog-style legs, and some reports them having unusually large heads. Others report them looking more hyena-like. Some say that they look like black werewolves from the movie Van Helsing, and others have they look like or report them as looking like a large timber wolf that ambulated bipedally, which means that they move around on both legs, like back legs. They mainly seem like their North American version of a werewolf or rougarou. And location is everything. Some have been reported within city limits of Cincinnati, Ohio, that is, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Columbus, Ohio, and even in Central Park in New York City. The vocalizations they are said to make, they have a number of sounds that include a low bass sounding howl, and there have been reports of attacks, but not many. So whilst out of fear, most eyewitnesses report believing that they would be attacked, but left the encounter unharmed. I think, the freak value of seeing it and then panicking and running the other way or keeping your distance, whatever, but they weren't attacked by it. Some reports have contained attacks, though, only like 1%, which is a very small percentage by witnesses. Reports say that more sightings occurred during the daytime hours than only at night, as in werewolves and rougarous. Although I wonder if the sightings that are at night more because of it being like the creep factor in the night, like people are kind of like freaked out by shadows and might interpret seeing something looking like a dog man standing up on two legs when in fact it's really not. Shadow a person, maybe. I'm sure there's got to be some mistaken identities in there. Apparently, dogman reports have occurred elsewhere other than North America. They're considered more of an American phenomena overall, though. So allegedly, footage is out there in the forms of YouTube videos, but most of it is quite blurry and non-defined. Some view them as being demonic, but it's all speculation. So what do you guys think? Do you think that it's legend or lore? Combination of two? They have allegedly been spotted in 38 of the 50 United States and reported also from Norway and Brazil. But it's unknown how similar these are to werewolf reports, etc. Skinwalker Ranch, yes. So have any of you guys ever seen a rougarou werewolf being at all in your travels anywhere? Like I said, I do think that there are some misidentifications. Yeah, I agree that you could dismiss all the reports, but again, a small percentage would have to be misidentifications, I would think. I know the one story I heard, like it was a firsthand account, was some woman out walking her dog by a creek somewhere rural, and that there was like a chain link fence on the other side of the creek, and she saw this thing allegedly stand up on the other side of the creek up against the fence line, and she and her dog started barking, and they were a little ways away from the creek shoreline, if you will, and just kind of like backed out of the area, turned around and hurried out. But she swears that it was a dog man that she saw. Interdimensional being, yeah, that is possible. Probably another science test, that's also possible. They are relatively rare comparatively to Wolfman. And of course, some of the fear of seeing one could also come from like the original Universal monster movies of the werewolf, and how that played out and putting setting the idea of it in people's minds. But again, I'm not discounting them as being possibly real. I actually just saw as an update to what I didn't have in my notes then, I want to say maybe a couple days ago, there was a doctor on TikTok who is an emergency room doctor who tells stories and shares them about like really bizarre things that come through the emergency room. Sure, many times people's imaginations get the better of them, but I wouldn't say every account is that way. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, yes, there's probably some misidentifications, like being a bear maybe, but I don't think it's every account because legends and all that stuff have to come from somewhere originally. Goats stand on their back legs as well. Yes. Yes, our minds can, especially where it's kind of twilighty or dark light, that, it makes it difficult to identify what you see. Fear can naturally be higher for some people in the dark, of course. Doesn't bother me, but there are those out there. So this ER doctor did a video just like this past week that I saw on TikTok, and he said he was on duty in the ER, and one of the patients in there was this guy who he'd gone in, he checked on him, he seemed okay, and he was going to release him, and he went and did a couple of things and came back to finish up with this guy. Have you really, Sandy? Yeah, he's kind of cute too, right? And he had gone back into the patient's room, and that this guy was, for all intents and purposes, seemed fine, but very anxious. And so he kind of said, like, is there anything else I can help you with, type thing. And the gentleman was asking to not be allowed out because of fear of hurting others. And he did, I guess, disclose that he was a werewolf, which the guy kind of thought, okay, so a psych eval is in order. So he contacted them. And yeah, we have lots of coyotes too. Not at all, Sandy. He is not bad on the eyes. And so he contacted the psych unit for a psych eval to be done on a guy. Went out to go do a couple other things while he waited for them to be available to do their thing. And he says that he was in another patient's room, and he swore that he saw something whiz by faster than he'd ever would have guessed or imagined. And when he stepped out in the hall to say what the hell, that it was like this guy running down a hallway, who then ended up leaving the emergency room out into the night, and that he did see him back again, I guess. I don't remember if it was later on that night or like the next month, but he thought, turned into a werewolf. And if it was a case of lycanthropy, they're not said to transform physically in terms of growing hair and fangs and wolf mouths, but that they have the behavior of that. He said he has never seen go that fast on all fours before. It was like an unnatural speed, enough to where he thought he was imagining it. If he hadn't seen, like the outside, they checked video cameras as well. Oh, this guy, but massively fast. So, there can be something to. I have not ever seen bobcats, but I was warned that when I bought a few years ago. Oh wow, heck of a them to single one. So I think that lycanthropy can exist, of course, but that's not going to account for all the legends out there, So, anyways, that is the story of the Rougarou. Yeah, I lived out in the middle of nowhere too. Yep, many creatures and critters. All right, my lovelies. Well, you just had 4 topics tonight. And again, we are inching to being caught up on lost archive topics. Like I said, along the way, I've left a couple out that are smaller topics, which really didn't turn into much of a show when I originally did them. So I don't see the sense in recovering those. I mean, if you guys want me to, I can, but I haven't been presenting them just because they were small topics and didn't have a whole lot of material to them. So in that case, let's see. Next week, if Chris is here, which I should know well before next Monday, she wanted me to save the emerald tablets and the tablets of Thoth for when she can be here. But there's also the If There Be Dragons show and the spiritual side of dragons, where I presented both sides of the topic there. Well, because your foothills near. Yeah. You are very welcome, guys, of course. So we could do the If There Be Dragons shows and like druids, the 5th dimension, that type of stuff. Let me double check what the last date in here is of a show. and I'll know how far into Soma Fusion time frame we are. Let's go up here for a minute. 2, 1. Okay, so that's April. All right, so, and I don't remember the exact date that Katie gave me for our anniversary, but I know it was March of last year. Let me see here. What page we on? 8 here. 3. What? You're kidding or not out of my knowledge. So, what can't I don't have a baby. I don't have her. She's not out here. I'm not getting enough to feed canned food right now. Sorry. But no. Okay. Everybody's tape off while I'm looking here. I want to see what is the last topic. March 2nd. So March 2nd, I did the 5th dimension, which should have been with Katie by then. I don't remember. It was around then, I believe, of last year. So if it wasn't, let me see here, 5th dimension, it's right down there. So we still could do like If There Be Dragons, Spiritual Side of Dragons and Druids next week, and possibly, ow, do not claw me, get down. Sorry. And if Chris can join us, we'll also do the Emerald Tablets and the Tablets of Thoth. And I will double check on the date from Katie as to when, I was around. The 5th dimension, Karen, the one that actually you had suggested originally. So, I mean, if there are others that you want, they'll be in the archives if it's after when I started with Soma Fusion. It would be part of the archives of the group and in Soma Fusion archives. But I'll double check the date with her of when we joined. I only remember her saying March of last year. She probably told me a day and gone. So, at any rate, that's about what we probably will cover next week. So, anyways, thank you, my lovelies, for coming, as always. And I am glad that you are doing reasonably okay, Sandy, because you didn't answer me. Don't do that, please, when I message you, because that makes me worry. So, yes. February 8th. I am way off base then. Okay. So Katie just said that February 8th. I didn't hear you at first because your mic is really low. February 8th was when we joined Soma Fusion. We might have already covered it, Sandy, but I mean, if you guys want the topic, I can certainly do it again. I mean, it's not listed in this notebook, but if it was February, it wouldn't be, let me see. I'm going to guesstimate that the Dragon Show would be running into when the time frame we joined with Soma Fusion. Best guess. But yeah, we did Witchcraft way back. One of the early shows, actually. But yeah, February 8th. I don't know why I had it as March in my head, but so at any rate, we could always do another show on witchcraft or witches if you'd like. If you want the historical view or of what practices are, specify that, because I believe I've covered both, like the history as well as the witchcraft, the witch trials, and the history of that. So let me know, lovey. But otherwise, thank you all for being here. Yeah, most people do, Natalie. It's more about hanging out and being together than anything else. So, but love and light to everybody. Thank you all for coming, as always. And I hope you all have a blessed rest of the night. Sandy can let me know what direction she's thinking of. And that will help me locate my notes. If not, I can just kind of wing it because obviously, like, I know about that stuff. So, love to all. Have a wonderful rest of the night. And I will see you guys, if nothing else, for book group on Thursday night, 8 p.m. in here in Willows. So, everyone have a wonderful night. Love to all. Stay well out there, guys. Thank you, Marianne. You too.